welcome to Qualm Kitchen. Back again to cook you some lovely food. We're going to do some chicken and cashews today. Quite a simple dish, but very, very tasty and quite cheap, really. I'm going to talk about a murder that happened in Worcester. No murders are, more murders are sad, but this one was particularly sad because a lad, 21, 22-year-old, had his life in front of him, and it was taken tragically and quite horrendously. But we'll talk about it in a minute.
Yeah, sure. And good morning, everybody. I'm looking forward to this story because it's a new story to me, and I don't know exactly what you're going to cook today either. So it'll be a bit of a mixture for me as well. So
real simple ingredients: chicken and cashew nuts. Just to go through it, about 500 grams of cut up chicken. I've been marinating that in some soy sauce and some Chinese wine. Rice wine. Just you can do it, but the longer you do it, the better. But it's been marinating for about an hour now. Some peppers, some sliced up mushrooms. I've done various mushrooms there. Garlic, ginger, cashew nuts, some light soy sauce, and I'm going to cut it with walnut oil. So just be careful if you've got any allergies and that. Use vegetable oil if you've got that, and also the chicken can be replaced with a plant-based substitute, corn or similar.
So what was it called? You might have said I forgot.
Just chicken and cashew nuts.
Just, right,
it's a Chinese thing.
Yeah, well, we'll come up with a good title for it then.
Yeah. So what I'm going to just do is I love this walnut oil. I mean, some of you can't cook it if you react. You're allergic to.
Let's have a look at that actually.
Yeah, it's so I'm just going to fry off the chicken.
Yeah. That's the thing with using these pans, and they get hot very, very quickly, don't they?
They do.
It's
just tune that down a bit. So just brown it off. Well, very quickly. Very quick dish. And as I said, very reasonable. I would think, even if you've got to buy some of the product, the soy sauce and that in the first place, probably, initially probably £15, but after that, you're talking about £6 or £8.
Okay.
Yeah, so really quick, really quick. It smells beautiful.
Yeah.
We'll put a bit of ginger in. Yeah, I've got to get this right. I'm going to smell it because I've got.
And what did you do with it? Did you just sort of make this up, or is it over the years you've just used some?
Yeah, just a combination of it's. I've done it loads of times, but
some of the stuff
it's a stir fry type thing. It's really. I think marinating that the chicken in the soil just gives it that nice bit of sweetness and
some of the things that I'll go on to cook in future episodes will be literally stuff that I've made up over the years, really. To be honest, that's what all recipes are in many ways, aren't they? You get your old granny's recipe out, and they're very often really good.
So I'm going to talk about Jason. Jason Davis is the lad's name. He'd come over from Norfolk, where his family lived, and he went to Worcester University, and he lived in Worcester in sort of student accommodation, but he just graduated the year before. So this was about January time, early January in 1995. Very sporty lad, into his athletics, just very sporty lad, nice lad. And he was living in a property where they'd been converted, so it was a 3-bedroom property, but they'd, like a student type accommodation, when they converted the back downstairs room into a bedroom. And that's where Jason stayed. He just got himself a job, a graduate entry management scheme with Homebase in Worcester, and was doing really well thought of, so everything was going really well for Jason. Got a girlfriend, and on this particular night, I should say that there was another lad who lived in the house, the name of Barry Gibson. They knew each other, they were friends. Barry, I believe, was going through some issues in his life, depression, We know that. A bit of a loner, bit of estranged from his family, had been for some time. And I guess he was going through some issues in life, but they were friends. Him and Jason were friends. Let me just turn this down a bit. And on this particular night, Barry Gibson decided to, it was all planned, I mean I say that, decided to, he'd obviously thought this through. It was all premeditated. He rang up his mum. He hadn't spoke to his mother for a long time, many months. It was late at night, early hours of the morning, and she was very surprised that he spoke to her. Anyway, he rang her and said, Mum, can you phone me back? So, a bit of a strange request, but she said yeah, and it was an old landline phone, and she rang him back. Well, what he did was he let it ring and ring and ring, and just going to take that off a minute. Yeah, let it ring, and he just stood in the room, and the phone was continuing ringing. There was no answer machines or anything. It was the old landline service, and it woke Jason up. And Jason went over his room into the front communal lounge where Barry Gibson was waiting with a claw hammer, and he hammered Jason. A few blows, hard blows to the head. Jason went down with quite severe injuries. Barry Gibson then went to Jason's girlfriend and sexually assaulted her. Jason was still alive at that time, groaning and sort of crawling around the room, and I'm not going to go into lots of details, but you can imagine it was. Barry Gibson then went back and hammered him again a few more times, and then went back and sexually assaulted the girlfriend. And this probably happened at least 4 occasions. We can tell that by the blood patterns and the spread of the blood on the walls and that. In the meantime, Barry Gibson had pulled the plug out on the phone so it wouldn't even ring. But of course, you can still ring it. It was still ringing out, and his mum was worried the phone wasn't being answered. She rang and rang and rang. In the end, she thought something wrong here, and so she rang the police. And so 2 local uniformed lads went round, knocked to the door to be confronted with Barry Gibson, stark naked, covered in blood. A girl who'd been really badly sexually assaulted in a right state, and they found Jason in the front lounge in a near death state, really, horrendous injuries.
Just ask you a question there. So you get you're the police officer that rocks up there to that. How do you get prepared for that in training and stuff? Because that's like. Do you really get prepared for that?
No, I don't think there's any training would ever, some sort of role model sort of thing doing that. It's just you do, and that's police work. You deal with what's ever in front of you as best you can at the time, and to be confronted that. I mean, those 2 officers must have been horrendous, but they, professional. They did it.
Yeah, but just in your early training, as a because my granddaughter was looking to go into the police force, and it'd be really useful to understand what the initial training are, because like you said, as soon as you basically pass your exams and you end up being a bobby, as it were, you're out there then, aren't you? And you could be confronted or faced with literally anything that comes along. So what is how does it obviously there's a standard training regime that you go through, but does it involve anything like that at all?
Well, you're going to go and see dead bodies. You are going to deal with death. You are going to deal with grieving families. You are going to deal with violence. You are going to deal with very emotional things. And in some respects, things are unique, are very bespoke. I mean, how often they never go to something like that again.
So in the police forces, because I can imagine, we're all human at the end of the day, and. Is there a lot of mental health issues within the police force?
I think in all walks of life, people now realising that people, mental health, and it's a big issue. Years ago, it was sort of, especially in the police, it was suppressed, and you could have depression, and like a lot of professions, you might, I've got a bad back and not go to work, and it could be depression. It's hiding that, emasculate, and now it's been seen and addressed, and it was always an embarrassing thing, wasn't it, to talk about mental health?
It was years ago, but it's far from that now.
Really good. It's come a long way, and
definitely has done a good job it has too. Really.
Yeah, that's right.
But because we all think, like, I'm sat here thinking now, oh yeah, if that happened, I'd just turn up and do. But I'm not sure I would. You're faced with something like that. Somebody opens the door. Start bollock naked, as it were.
So then what happened was, obviously Jason gets taken straight to Birmingham, horrendous head injuries, you can imagine. He gets put on life support, Barry Gibson's arrested, taken to custody, and he's dealt with. You think a fairly straightforward sort of detection job, but there's still a lot of work to do to prove that Barry Gibson.
And to be honest, you'll tell from some of my questions in a minute, I've been watching a lot of like Murder in My Village sort of things, and like they call this thing the golden hour. Oh, go on,
just put the red peppers in. I'm going to put some red peppers in now, and it's me. Yeah, we're going.
They often talk about what they describe as the golden hour, which I get. Obviously, the earlier you get there, you capture, secure the scene off, as it were, and capture as much information and forensic stuff as you possibly can while it's still fresh.
We do like garlic.
In that situation, than me being somebody that jumps to conclusions, so I'd have never made a good copper. but somebody opens the door, covered in blood, start bollock naked, and there's somebody just a hammer there and all whatever. To me, that sort of looks initially pretty obvious what's going on. But you, as the police force, have got to investigate that as though you didn't know, haven't you? Is that correct?
Yeah, that's absolutely right. You can jump to conclusions. You've got to make some decisions and conclusions, but an hypothesis. But you've still got to go through a process of proving that Barry Gibson killed Jason Davis, and as horrendous as it is and that. But
because it's you could have. Well, I suppose in theory, somebody else could have done it, and he could have just picked up the hammer and
exactly right. Exactly right. It's got to be proved beyond reasonable doubt.
Yeah. So in terms of like forensics, then at that point, so the bodies, as it were, turned up. They wouldn't have been expecting to find that. That would have been the last thing on their mind, I would have thought. But then suddenly they're faced with that. What actually happens quickly in that moment in time? So they've turned up. They've gone. What? Well, I mean,
the most important thing is Jason, isn't it? Is to try and preserve his life, and that's the most thing that over.
Yeah. So that's the thing you trained. Preserve life is the key thing.
You've got him out. Try and save him. Gary Gibson's arrested, taken into custody, and obviously the girlfriend is a major. She is, a major victim in this, and looking after her and her welfare as well. I mean, she experienced the most horrendous thing in her life.
Horrendous.
Her boyfriend's been killed. He wasn't there at that stage, but basically was killed, and she's gone through that as well. So it's a massive thing. So lots of things come around that, and the scene, the house is all shut down and locked off, and so we can do that a bit more slow time really. It's about people really, and looking after them and making sure everything is we can move forward.
At this moment in time, the victim was still alive as well, wasn't
he? So Jason gets taken up to Birmingham. Obviously extremely poorly, horrendous head injuries. On life support machine. Family come over from Norfolk, and I got very close to Jason's family, his mum and dad. Lovely people. Spent a lot of time with them. And the one thing which was very, very unusual is that obviously he was brainstem dead. He was on the life support machine, but for all intents and purposes, he was dead. But it was always Jason's wish that he wanted to donate his organs, which is very unusual for a murder victim. Of course, usually murder victims are dead there and thereabouts, so nothing happens. And also, you've got to prove how somebody's been murdered. So, anyway, to cut a long story short, is that everybody agreed that he could donate his organs, any organ below the neck. You had to get the coroner's agreement and defence solicitors and the Crown Prosecution Service and everybody just to say yes, okay. So it was quite unique in that they pronounced him dead, but didn't turn his life support machine off, so we could keep the organs fresh. And then we went down to theatre late at night, about 10 o'clock at night, and unless you see it, so all the people that came to harvesting the organs, they call it, came from different, the surgeons came from all over the country. The organisation was unbelievable, phenomenal. Within hours,
And who organised that then?
Those are special coordinators.
Right, okay, so there's something set up to do that, right, okay.
Yeah, cool. And they mobilise it and they come in. And I was there 7 hours it took to harvest the organs, and we were all there to see them come out. Home office pathologists to go, that's not the cause of death, that's not the cause of death. I mean, we can all guess what the cause of death is, but you've still got to prove it, evidentially that it wasn't this, it wasn't that. I just put the mushrooms in there, so it was his wish, which he was granted, and he donated. And he's a strong lad, and I don't know, all those people who benefited from, I didn't see the continuity, I didn't know who the recipients were, but I knew where they were going in the country. It was a good thing. But and Jason's mom, she went on telly. She was really, around canvassing for support for the parents of sons and daughters who have been murdered. And that she did a lot of good work, really, really good work, and it's become just a system.
I mean, I don't know what the right word is. I was going to use the word brave your parents to do things like that.
Just a little bit of soy sauce.
I really don't know I can't find the right words to say what they are, but the strength of character for them to be able to follow through with that.
And another thing as well.
It's phenomenal.
Which, again, I found, well, there's a couple of things really. So secondly, Barry Gibson was charged with murder. He pleaded guilty to manslaughter under administrative responsibility because the mental health assessments of him was that his balance of his mind was, unbalanced. I told you before, I did, when he pleaded guilty to manslaughter, I found it hard to accept really.
Well, I can imagine that because there was an element of premeditation with the phone call.
In the summing up, the judge said it was premeditated, without a doubt. So, but that's homicide law, manslaughter, murder, and
it's a fine line that is, isn't it? That particular one, and things like that.
Put the chicken back in there to go through. It was, but the really unusual, and I haven't seen before. Not in my cases, never before. So Jason's mom wanted to confront and speak to the person who killed her son, who murdered her son, and she wrote to the prison. She wrote to him, Barry Gibson, and he agreed. And she went to see him in prison to speak to him. I mean, that's
again great strength of character from the parents. I mean,
unbelievable.
I can see that some people would, I don't know, find some sort of release within that somewhere. I don't know. But you just hope you never have to deal with that situation.
Well, that's
yourself,
right. And I go back to what the beginning. Jason got the world in front of him.
Yeah.
And that just changed the whole, affected so many lives. Gibson, obviously, he was the offender. Jason, his girlfriend, all the families. I mean, that's what,
I mean,
how you come back from that.
The fact that they were friends and didn't, as I understand it, they've been friends for many, many years, I mean, I get the sort of manslaughter bit. I mean, you're obviously not saying, are you, to do something like that? So at the time you do it, so yeah. Yeah,
I know. It's just anyway. Yeah, but that's a long time ago. And because home base isn't there anymore, and they planted a tree for him. And I only the other week because I knew we were going to do this, and I went to the tree planting when home base was there. But of course, home base isn't there now. It's moved, they changed it all.
Yeah.
And I believe, and I did do some research, that they moved his tree that they planted for him, and I don't know where it is.
Right.
So okay. If anybody can tell me where that tree is, then please email us in. But because it would be a big tree now. A long time ago. But I know they did move.
And how come it ended up in home base?
Because that's where he worked.
Got you.
So they did it for him.
Yeah.
So where home base used to be in that, where over in St John's there.
Yeah.
and because they built on it after, didn't they?
Yeah.
They made more years, so yeah, they did for him. Yeah, bless them. Yeah. Well, to tell you what, Dave, this is just
starting to look good,
it is looking, I think, just about, isn't it?
It is, yeah.
Get these cashew nuts. So really easy, cheap meal. You can't smell it. We get smell-o-vision or something, but
Yeah.
it is. It's lovely and it's healthy. We've got a bit of rice as well for it to go on. So that bit of rice or whatever you want to do. Just warming it through.
Yeah.
Just remind people, we'll happily come out and cook for 35 people. We've got a big pan, we've got some massive dishes here with all the stuff. As long as you want to be part of our YouTube programme, and you can ask us questions, you can ask anything you want, we'll come out to you free of charge, and just a matter of make a donation to our charity. That's all we ask, and ask us some good questions.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, and please do email in on crimekitchens@gmail.com, because the more questions we get come in, the better, the more entertaining we can be, and we'll get some relevant guests on around some of your questions as well. And I think it's worth saying, in the next one after this, we'll have a guest coming on.
Oh yeah, we will. Yeah,
and it's probably worth just mentioning. Is it what that just the headlines of what that guest will be? Yeah.
Yeah. So he's one of our trailers. We mentioned Jockey the Detective. So he's going to come and do a bit of cooking for us as well. So he earns himself an apron.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it.
And talks about his there you go. Ooh. Talks about his life as a jockey.
Yeah.
And Dave dying to ask him why he went to become a jockey from. I'm not going. I know the answer to that.
Yeah.
It's not a secret.
No. Lovely, mate. That is nice.
Good.
Very warm as well. I know it's obviously coming out of the pan, but it's really warm. This dish up. Got a job to hold it.
Right, turned off. So, yeah, it's good.
Yeah.
Right, there you go, everyone. It's chicken and cashew nuts, real simple, cheap, really tasty. Let's have a taste now. I said that.
Very good. Yeah.
Right.
See you next time.
See you next time.
Thank you.